Welcome back, everybody. We're live from Sidelines in Maumee. It's the St. John's Jesuit Coaches Show on 107.7 The Wolf. I'm Gary Sensenstein along with Braden Moriarty. He's working the board back at the Wolf. Joining me right off the bat, as always, head coach Larry McDaniel. He got his breath this week, man. Last week he had to run to that press box at Leiden to get that thing done. Got here in plenty of time today, but I tell you what, impressive win on Friday, 42-19. But I tell you what I like most about it is you had a couple starters sitting out in that first quarter. We're not going to talk about what happened with those guys, but man, oh man, what we got from Spencer Tayo, Dalen Glaze, and DeGroff, I mean, that had to be fun to watch.
It was, and that's really what good programs can do. When you're building a program, the key is depth. It's that next group of kids being able to come in and have success. And we were so proud of those young men. Those kids, the one thing people don't understand is that every day the same kids come out and they practice. And a lot of times they do it with no rewards on Friday evenings. They have to wait until Saturday afternoon. So when they get their opportunity, they have to shine, and those kids did.
When we talked to Coach Etz after the game on Friday, he made a point to talk about DeGroff, that this kid has been kind of pouring it on since August, and he's just kind of showing up week by week for you guys.
Yeah, he is. It's interesting. Coach Price talked to the group, and he asked his receivers, he said, okay, who has been the most consistent person in this unit? And to a man, they said DeGroff. So those are the kind of things that you hope young players understand, and young people in general, that hard work, perseverance gets noticed. We live in a world of instant gratification. If I don't get it now, if it doesn't happen for me now, then all of a sudden, I'm going to quit. I'm going to transfer. I'm going to go somewhere else. DeGroff is a great example of a kid who just said, okay, I'm going to put my head down. I've got great guys in front of me. I got seniors in front of me. I'm just going to do my job, and I'm going to go out there every day, and I'm going to work hard, and it's really paid off.
We've had a few guys dinged up the last couple of weeks. Who do you expect to see on Friday against Central?
I think a couple of guys will be back. We think, Gary Batch will be back in the lineup in some capacity come tomorrow night. Austin Perkins will be back in the lineup in some capacity. That neither, they may not start, but they'll be back in there. So, we're getting a little healthier, and which is good because we're right to, obviously starting our conference play, and we need those guys to be successful in the league.
2-1 going into conference. Obviously, everybody's 0-0 on Friday. Mm-hmm. I know Central's going to be a difficult game, but boy, the temperature is on Friday. That's not going to be anything to sneeze at on Friday.
What's it supposed to be?
Man, it'll be high 80s, maybe 90 degrees during the day on Friday.
Yeah. That, obviously all those sprints and things that you do are going to have to pay off. Depth will be very important. The fact that you've got guys that have when you've got 81 players like they have, that's a nice advantage. When you're talking about 81 players and 20-plus seniors versus a team that, only has, low 70s. Yeah, so we're going to have to be smart in how we do things. We're going to have to slow the game down and make sure that we keep our kids rested and we hydrate them and so we can be ready to go in the fourth.
What's your biggest concern for Friday?
Just staying in the moment.
Right.
I think the biggest thing for our kids have to realize is that they are a darn fine football team, and they're going to do good things, and that's okay. You have to understand that, football games aren't won and lost in one or two plays. It's the entirety of the game. So the biggest thing that we have to do is when something bad happens from our perspective, we just have to brush it off. We have to flush it. We have to go on to the next thing and not allow something that they do to affect us in a negative way. And that's the biggest concern that I have as far as Friday.
And you think, as a football coach, when you play a team like Central or even Whitmer, you know you're going to be punched in the mouth. Mm-hmm. It's like how your kid's going to respond to that.
Exactly, and that's what we talk about. That's the measure of a man. It's not getting knocked down, but it's how you get back up and how you compete after you get knocked down. And that's one of the things that we harp on with our kids, and we just have to continuously talk to them about that just because it's a generational thing right now. When things get hard, people opt to turn and run and take the path of least resistance. So one of the things that we're trying to do in our program, and I know even in our school, is we're trying to get kids to understand that mistakes are part of the process. You're never going to be perfect. The one great thing about being at our school is you can always evoke the name of Christ. I tell those guys all the time, there's one perfect man. That was Jesus Christ. And
Right.
none of us are even close to being compared to him. So it's okay to make mistakes.
Right.
And that's how you grow. So hopefully we'll take that into the game Friday night. And when we do have some down moments, we will realize, hey, that's part of growth.
Right.
And then we'll turn back around and be ready to
Yeah,
play.
this isn't Friday Night Lights where Permian Panthers where Billy Bob Thornton is telling the guys go out there, be perfect, be perfect. It doesn't happen that way.
Right. Not at all. That's just not the way football works. No one's ever played a perfect game. Even the greatest, Tom Brady's never played a perfect game. Yeah. And our kids have to understand that. And they have to embrace that. And they have to be able to flush the bad and move on with the positive.
You know, it's interesting. Even with the defensive struggles, you guys had turnovers in the first 3 games. You've had picks. I mean, Dimitri had a pick 6 in that game Friday. Could have had a pick 6 in that Anthony Wayne game, which probably would have changed the momentum in that game.
Sure. You know what? And that's always a big part of it, turnovers, the turnover margin. When you look at our turnovers in that AW game, they scored touchdowns on our turnovers. Same way last week, we scored touchdowns when we got turnovers. So those are that'll be extremely important tomorrow night, which team can hold on to the ball and who can generate some turnovers. So, yeah, that equalizes a lot of bad things sometimes when you can get that ball taken away.
For Central on the offensive side, it looks like their wide receivers are a little more big play potential with the Williams kid and the Johnson kid that they have this year.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? They had it last year. The biggest issue, they just couldn't get them the ball.
Right.
They always have big play kids. I mean, they're the fastest team, the biggest team in our league. So it's just a matter of getting the ball to those kids. This year, the Vargas kid's been able to do that. So they're a big play offense. They're very similar to us. If they get behind you in coverage and you can get them the ball, odds are you're not going to catch those kids. So we have to do a great job of keeping our eyes in the right place, making sure that we're very sound in our coverages, playing nice, solid zone coverage when we need to, and then being able to play some man coverage when we blitz.
And the thing is, they're a big play defensive team, too. It seems like they average a touchdown on the defensive side.
Sure, they smother you. They average a touchdown either defensively or
Welcome back, everybody. We are live from Sidelines in Maumee. It's the St. John's Jesuit Coaches Show on 107.7 The Wolf. I'm Gary Sensenstein, along with Braden Moriarty. He's working the board back at the Wolf. Joining me now, senior golfers Carson Sager and Ben Pollock. And Ben, I got to talk to you first. I mean, a year ago, man, you're shooting mid-80s, high 80s. You shot 90 in the district, but you come back with a 79 in the track championship this year. How did your game get elevated from last year to this year?
With the golf swing, but middle pack.
You know, most hockey players are actually pretty good golfers, but I got to tell you a story. Years ago at the very first Jamie Farr Classic, it was held at Stone Oak, and they brought Wayne Gretzky in for the Pro-Am. He was so bad, we actually had to go back to the clubhouse and get him some more balls.
Really?
So sometimes it's sometimes it can be shaky at times.
Yeah. Sometimes people are good, and and maybe the best not so good.
Now, did you always play when you were younger?
Yeah. I mean, started young age. Didn't really get into competition until my 8th grade year,
right?
And then I played all 4 years at St. John's, freshman to senior year now. So
Carson, how'd you get started?
I got started at a really young age, probably by my dad, and I've just been playing in tournaments for most of my life.
Now, is your dad a good player, or do you already beat him nowadays? Or
we're pretty even. He beats me most of the time, but it's going to change pretty soon.
Where do you usually play, or where'd you learn?
We play at Stone Oak.
Okay.
Yeah. And he just usually teaches me on the range, helps me out on the course.
How is that course nowadays? Because again, back in the day, the LPGA was held out there, and I know with the housing development, it's changed a lot.
It's still
Has it changed the golf
very
course much
tight.
at all?
Very tight. It's not too long, but it can be challenging if your driver's not going too good.
Stone Ridge, what was it like for you yesterday?
Couldn't get much putts to fall, and my irons weren't very good, but I was getting off the tee pretty well. I just couldn't get much things to go.
Do you guys normally feel pretty confident when you play at Stone Ridge?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I play there a lot. I'm a Bowling Green kid, so
right.
Yeah, so I know the course well. Pretty usually confident.
Now, does your dad play?
Yeah, he usually plays a little bit. He's dealing with some back issues, and so he hasn't really played in a while. But yeah, he's used to play.
How long did it take you for you to beat him head to head?
I don't know. Ever since I started playing competition and he started winding down, I usually beat him for a little bit.
Now again, you've been at St. John's for 4 years playing golf. The St. John's golf program has such a reputation. When you guys go into a year, you guys already go into the year pretty confident going into a year?
Yeah, I know we come in a year with 6 good golfers every year. It's just high expectations. You got to learn to follow them. Knowing that there's the 7th and 8th guy are going to be there fighting for the top 6 spots, you got to keep up your game at all time, and it really helps.
How about for you, Carson, the last 4 years?
It's always been kind of a challenge to keep in the lineup. You always need to play on the top of your game, like Ben said, and it just keeps your competition heavy and makes your game better because you're always competing at a high level.
I was going to say, it's not so much, I was talking to Musa about it, it's not so much competition against the Centrals and the Northviews and St. Francis. I mean, there's a lot of competition between you guys, and it probably kind of elevates your game as well.
Yeah, because it makes us want it a little more, and this gets us the extra little competition in us to get us ready for more tournaments.
I had Liam Seipel on a couple weeks ago. I got to talk about hockey really quick, Ben. I mean, I know you guys got a lot of guys back from last year. I know it was a tough loss to Northview in that district. Hockey's, before you know it, it's going to be showing up. Talk about the hockey team a little bit.
Yeah, so hockey's coming up 1 month already, close. We have a lot of seniors returning, only losing a couple guys from last year. A lot of returners, a lot of senior leadership, hoping for a good year.
Talk about the guys you have coming back, especially, and the way the conference works. Just having Will Hawker back makes a huge difference for you guys, doesn't it?
Yeah, having a good, solid goalie back there, knowing that he's going to be there when everything falls apart or nothing doesn't go your way. Very helps knowing you're going to have a good solid backbone to your lineup.
Talk about the way your year has developed, Carson. How, the beginning of the year to now, how have you stepped up your game?
A lot of practice on the range. Got in a couple tournaments this summer, and just really working on like short game and stuff to get that, because all those strokes help around the greens. If you can start making putts fall, your scores really go down.
What's it like being a senior with this bunch? I mean, you got so many young guys, and I know a lot of times with football and baseball and basketball, like there's so much senior leadership matters so much. Does that matter much in golf, and what can you tell these guys?
Yeah, I think it matters. I remember I was a freshman playing, and it's crazy now I'm a senior. Just try to just be like the older brother to them, to like help them practice and just kind of talk to them and have fun with them at practice and stuff.
Guys, good to see you. Good luck in this sectional down the road. When we come back, we're going to talk to a couple of freshmen, Henry Rill and Justy Van Lemden. They'll talk about their golf season. We're live from Sidelines in Maumee. It's the St. John's Jesuit Coaches Show on 107.7 The Wolf. Everybody, we're live from Sidelines in Maumee. It's the St. John's Jesuit Coaches Show on 107.7 The Wolf. As promised, the freshmen, Henry Rill and Justy Van Lemden. And I tell you what, it's good to have you guys on the team. And Justy, I'll ask you first, what was the experience like in your first track championship?
My first track championship, I started off playing really well. I shot only 2 over on the front 9. But then the back 9, I had a few bad holes that caused me to somewhat tremble downhill, and I ended up shooting 83. But I still had an overall great experience.
Have you played Stone Ridge much before?
Yeah, I think it's like my 4th or 5th time probably about playing it.
What makes that course so difficult to play?
I don't know. There's a stretch of 4 holes on the back 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13, and they play really tough when there's a strong wind. especially hole 12 when it's into the wind. And somehow on that hole, I just bladed it over the green, and that kind of caused a spiral downhill.
How about for you, Henry? How'd your day go?
I started on the hardest hole on the course, and my second hole was the second hardest hole on the course. So I played my first 5 holes 7 over, and that was rough. Tripled the easiest hole on the course. Still shot 83.
Is that one of those things where it's really hard to come back from because you just know once you're 6 over or you're 7 over, there's no more bogeys to be had, is there?
Yeah. No, I for a while there I went on 8 straight pars with a couple really short missed birdie putts, and was feeling it, and then I just had one bad hole because I hooked it OB, and then.
Is it a course that's hard to get used to?
Yeah. I mean, once you play it once or twice, it starts to get easier. I struggled the first 2 times I played it, and then lit it up the second or third time I played it.
Describe your game a little bit.
It really depends on the day. I mean,
Okay.
I don't hit it very far. I mean, so I just hit a lot of greens. I try to, and just give myself good 2-putt opportunities. I don't 3-putt too often. So.
How about for you, Justin?
I definitely hit the ball a lot farther than most freshmen do. Most tournaments I'm playing with, I'm driving the ball just as far as all like the juniors and seniors. And especially what I've been trying to work on all summer is because of how much I've grown the last year is to dial in my irons, which have definitely been on and off. I've had a few great rounds and a few really off rounds. My wedge game has overall been pretty solid, and my putting's been up and down, but since I got a new putter, it's really improved.
How'd you get started?
Golf, I started when I was probably about 3 or 4 years old. Me and him both we started competing with each other when we were in like second, third grade, and we've just been great golf friends ever since.
What's junior golf like down in Finley?
There's this league called FAGA, Finley Area Golf Association.
Okay.
When I first started, there was like an 8 and 9-year-old division, so I started playing in that. But now they got rid of it, and it starts at 10 years old. But it's a really great experience to like play down there with your friends. And it always gets sort of competitive.
Did you get started early too, Henry?
I started competitively when I was 12, but
Okay.
I mean, I had a set of clubs when I was like 2 or 3 years old. My dad got them for me.
Okay.
So.
And how well is we were talking before about guys playing against your dad. What's it like for you? You mentioned before you give your dad 10 shots. Is that accurate?
Yeah, right around there.
How about for you, Justin?
I started beating my dad probably about 2 or 3 years ago, and it all started the one time where I tied him out of my first time ever, and then we ended up going into a putt-off, and I lost, so I was very mad about that. But ever since then, I've consistently beat him.
How do fathers react when they lose the first time? What was it like for you?
I feel like he was I don't want to say he was mad, but he was definitely disappointed. So to say, he doesn't like how many years older than me, and his 12-year-old son just beat him in golf.
Well, how about for you, Henry?
Well, with my dad, I think he never really wanted to lose to me, but he was always secretly kind of hoping I'd beat him because he always told me the first time I beat him, I was so happy. I walked off 18, and I think I fired like an 86. I mean, it wasn't a good round by any means, but I still beat him. And he told me, Henry, if your goal is to beat me, you're not going to go far in this game.
Talk about coming to St. John's, the competition involved. What's the experience been like for you, Henry?
It's been nice. I mean, I shadowed one day because my parents made me. I didn't really want to. And I just kind of fell in love with it, and as I was leaving, I just kind of told my dad, this is where I want to be next year. So I was really excited. First day, I spent probably an hour talking to Coach, really just decided that it was the kind of environment I wanted to be a part of rather than Finley.
How about for you, Justy? Was it tough for you from the start, or were you sold right away?
So when I was probably really young, I'm a big Notre Dame fan. So when I was like 4 years old, I said I wanted to go to St. John's because St. John's is the same colors as like Notre
Blue and
Dame.
gold, yeah.
And so I guess my mom and dad never really thought about it. But last year, I went up to shadow Charlie Anderson. He's a sophomore. He's on the hockey team.
Right.
And then I also I fell in love with it, and I shadowed Joey Hoppa-Johns, who's a junior, of course. And I loved it so much. I loved the environment. I loved Coach. And so I just wanted to be a part of it.
As a Notre Dame fan, how scared are you about Saturday down in Athens, Georgia?
I'm a little nervous. Not going to lie.
How about Henry? Who are you a fan of?
I'm not a huge college sports guy. I mean, I have teams that I find preferable to others, but
the Patriots.
Oh yeah, I like Boston teams when it comes to pro sports: Celtics, Patriots, Red Sox.
Justy, arriving at St. John's, probably what's the one thing you like most in just the month you've been to school so far?
I just love the environment, how inviting everyone is there. I literally came here with me, Henry, and two other guys that are in my class, and I already have so much friends, and I enjoy every bit of it.
How about for you, Henry? Was it tough showing up that first day as a freshman?
It was easier because we'd already been a little bit into golf season, and I knew those guys, and they'd been there. They were all really supportive and helpful, and it wasn't completely blind going in having those guys, and just wasn't a.
Perfect. Good to meet both of you. Henry, I'm glad you're at St. John's. Justin,
Yep.
have you
Thank
here
you.
as well. When we come back, we're going to talk to Joey Happen-Johns and sophomore golfer Joey Gemerchek. When we come back, we're live from Sidelines in Maumee. It's the St. John's Jesuit Coaches Show on 107.7 The Wolf. Welcome back, everybody. We are live from Sidelines in Maumee. It's the St. John's Jesuit Coaches Show on 107.7 The Wolf. As promised, junior Joey Happen-Johns and sophomore Joey Gemerchek. And Joey, I'll hit you first because, like I say, We got to tell everybody, the last time I saw you was Sylvania Country Club, your home course. It's the big-time junior tournament. You're all psyched up. You had an exemption. You had a darn exemption into the tournament.
I did.
And then you went out and shot 95.
Yeah.
What happened that day?
Yeah, that was a 3-day tournament. Started off rough with the 95, and then came back the next 2 days with 82. Basically just couldn't hit the ball. Struggling mentally at that point. Wasn't confident in my swing at all, and that's a recipe for disaster. So that was definitely a disappointing week, a disappointing 3 days, and then just kind of tried to push it behind and move on for sure.
What was that tournament experience like for you?
It was great. The competition was phenomenal. Even being at the back of the pack, the guys I played with were just solid guys. They know what they're doing. Good, course etiquette, just good stuff. It's great to surround yourself with play like that.
When the junior amateur was played the week before at Inverness, did you get a chance to drift out there and watch Batia and Summer Hayes and those guys?
Oh yeah, I watched all those guys. My brother Andrew Hoppinjans was caddying that week. So
Who did you get?
He, oh gosh, I don't know. His guy, he didn't do too well, but I did go out there and watch him for a day or two and saw some of those big guys for sure.
It's interesting because Batia is only 17 years old.
Oh yeah.
Just turned pro.
Yes.
I mean, that is mind-boggling to think about, isn't it?
It is. The way they set up that course and how those guys played is really something special. So to be able to watch them too is just crazy.
Also joining me, sophomore Joey Gemerchek, and again, last year as a freshman, and you were on the edge. You were like number 5. You were number 6. Tell me the difference between last year and this year for you.
Last year I was struggling just to be able to play in varsity events, but this year I've stepped up my game and be able to play every varsity event.
Anything in particular that's kind of clicked for you?
I've really figured out my driver over the past year. I've hit a lot more fairways and hit about 30 yards further than last year.
We were talking about the freshmen. Talk about your freshman experience from a year ago.
It was really fun. I had a lot of guys on the team who supported me and really wanted me to succeed.
Here you are. You're only a sophomore, but what was it like when the Finley guys showed up and they're freshmen? What'd you tell those guys when they showed up?
Just be calm, because even if it's like their first varsity event, they're going to have a lot more to come. So just because it's the first one doesn't mean it's the most important one.
Is it ever calm for you? When did it reach the point where you just kind of showed up and you just knew you could play?
Beginning of this year.
Yeah, okay. Was there a particular tournament where he kicked in, or was it like once that freshman year was done, you just felt a lot better going into this year?
I felt a lot better because I knew what to expect going into every tournament.
Joey, again, you're only a junior, but again, it seems like you've been playing for like 5 years.
Yeah.
I mean, you only have like 3 seniors on the entire roster.
Yeah.
When you look at this group, compare it to maybe a group from a couple of years ago.
Young, very, very young with a lot of potential. So that is, it's great to see. Obviously, this is the Finley boys. They're freshmen. It's their first year kind of getting settled, getting used to the high school golf atmosphere and stuff. So with the scores they're putting up, to just still be getting comfortable, it leaves a lot of potential for the next few years.
Again, you've won 8 of the last 9 track championships. Like I say, when you showed up at St. John's as a freshman, how important was it for you, year in and year out, to keep winning that title?
Yeah, it's a tradition at St. John's to be successful and win the track. So obviously 8 out of 9 is phenomenal, and every year that is at the beginning of the year we set that goal to win the track for sure. So to do that and keep up that tradition is something we really focus on and try to do.
For you, Joey, when you showed up at St. John's, was part of the reason you came to St. John's just because of the golf program?
I knew they had a really good golf program. Also, my dad went there, and he was a big supporter of the school.
We were talking about father-son and how they play. Again, did your father play, or does he play?
My dad doesn't play at all, but when I was growing up, I played a lot with my grandpa.
So who got you convinced, and when did you get started?
I started probably about kindergarten.
Oh, wow.
Out at Quarry Ridge with my grandpa. We play like once every week in the summer.
Growing up like that, having your grandfather teach you, what was he like, and what did you learn from him?
He didn't play much golf, but he just had a lot of fun watching me hit the ball, and that really supported me.
How about for you, Joey? I know you're a member at Sylvania. It's like, obviously golf probably was in your blood from day one, wasn't it?
Yeah, I did. My dad got me into the game, I think when I was about 11, so I kind of got a quote-quote late start compared to some guys. We went out to Stone Ridge, actually. He played a Sunday morning, him and 2 other buddies, and he had a 4th spot open, and he said, hey, you want to come out? So I said, sure. We played the first 18 kind of early, and I shot 102, and then him and his buddies wanted to keep going, so we played again that same day, and I shot 86, and that was kind of the kickstart to the golf career. So.
Now, do you guys have anybody in particular that teaches you during the year?
I just started working with Mike Stone. He's the pro at Belmont. About a couple weeks ago, actually. So we're getting a few things, tweaked up for the postseason, and it's going good so far.
And of course, I remember Mike Stone from years playing district golf. I understand. Remind me. I think was it a couple weeks ago? He actually won some events somewhere.
He did, yeah. Portage Country Club in the Akron area, I believe. He shot 68, 70, 67 for a big win out there. So to have a guy teaching you that plays the game and knows the game and is very good at the game is something that I really appreciate.
What's the potential of this team?
Oh, through the roof. Obviously, 2 seniors, I'm a junior, a sophomore, and then 2 freshmen, and maybe even a couple more guys coming in next year. I mean, there's just so much potential for the guys to practice, get comfortable, and improve every year.
Joey, give me an idea, like maybe what you were shooting last year compared to this year, and again, what part of your game has gotten better in the last year?
I've been able to hit a lot more greens. Last year I was struggling to even get the ball on the green, and now most holes are just a formality.
Now, do you just go out and play, or do you have an instructor as well?
I practice with Claire Batista up at Legacy.
Okay, what does Claire bring to your game? Is there anything particular? Because I know with most guys, because I was a caddy and I worked as a backroom boy and worked as a shop assistant, a lot of times, guys that are instructors, they have some kind of philosophy that they want you to do. Is there a philosophy that Claire tries to preach to you?
She focuses a lot on swing path and be able to draw and fade the ball.
How about for you with Mike?
He likes to simplify the game. Hit the fairway, hit the green, take your 2-putt and move on, right? Try to keep the ball out of trouble. So he says if you can, play simple and avoid the big numbers, that's the key to a good round.
Again, we're looking to the future sectionals and districts. Obviously, from just looking at scores, Northview and Perrysburg are going to be your toughest tests, isn't it?
Yeah, they are. We've seen them a couple times this year. Obviously, we were talking earlier about Northview putting up a good number at Eagles Landing. We've seen Perrysburg last year even. So those 2 teams are both solid, and that will definitely be our competition. So.
Guys, good to see both of you. Joey, good to see you.
Appreciate it.
Good to see you as well. When we come back, Director of Athletics Bob Ronay with the Chick-fil-A Athlete and Teacher of the Week. We are live from Sidelines in Maumee. It's the St. John's Jesuit Coaches Show on 107.7 The Wolf. back, everybody. We are live from Sidelines in Maumee. It's the St. John's Jesuit Coaches Show on 107.7 The Wolf. Joining me now, Director of Athletics, Bob Ronay, and he is the Chick-fil-A Athlete and Teacher of the Week.
Well, again, thank you to our friends over on Airport Highway, Chick-fil-A. Our Teacher of the Week is Mr. Claudio Cabrera. Mr. Cabrera is the Director of the Foreign Language Department, and he teaches Spanish. He's also the head JV Gold soccer coach, and he's Coach McElroy's top assistant on the varsity. And he's a tremendous job. Obviously, his soccer is excellent. He played professionally, and they have really teamed up really well. It's great, and plus having someone in the building is even better. So congratulations to Mr. Cabrera for everything he does. Our student athlete of the week is junior golfer Joey Hoppenjohns. Joey's named the track golfer of the year on Wednesday. He also earned the low medalist award at the track championship with a score of 75. I tell you, he's been coming on strong as well as the whole golf team. And I don't know if you discussed this. This is the first time I can remember. This is my 9th year where every member and the coach received conference honors. And that says a lot about the golf team and where they're at. And look how, we've been talking about how young they are and everything. So it's really exciting.
Talk about football tomorrow night. What kind of festivities you have planned for tomorrow?
Well, of course, we're going to have a lot of things going on.
Did you get Joey a bouncy house for tomorrow night?
We're going to have a bouncy house for everybody, man. We got the fan zone going to be out there. The bouncy houses are going to be out there. We have UTs coming down. They're going to bring their mascots down. They're going to have a lot of giveaways. We're having a game day is going to be down there. A lot of it's done with our broadcasting class with Tom Cole, but BCSN is going to be down there. The game itself is going to be shown live, streamed live on our website as well as BCSN. So a lot of neat things going on through the game, and the gates open at 5 o'clock. It'd be worth your while to either go online and buy your tickets or come into St. John's or to Toledo Central Catholic. Go over to Central Catholic and buy your tickets because I'm expecting a lot of people. And again, let me remind you, Airport Highway entrance is the only entrance and exit for that game. Holland-Sylvania Road entrance, it's closed. It won't be open, nor will we be able to use it as an exit this coming game.
And I understand Crew is finally putting the boats in the water this weekend?
Yeah, they're going, man. I'm telling you, we've been talking about it. They are off and rowing, as they say. They're at the head of the Cuyahoga over in Cleveland, and the following week on the 28th, Frogtown. So if you're in town, if it's a great day, I tell you, they're a lot of fun. Go on down there. It's a great festivities, a lot of things going on down there, but they're off and running. They've been training hard. I've heard a lot of great things about them, and we're real excited.
Speaking of cross country, the Midwest Catholic Championship are coming up tomorrow.
Yeah,
or Saturday.
It's Saturday. It's a great one. It's down in I remember it's down in the Columbus area. And what's good about this, they're getting ready because they're about 2 weeks out. We got the conference championship coming up, and then obviously district and regional. And our kids are doing well. I mean, he's had some good finishes. Coach is doing a great job. They're getting better and better. And again, another young group.
Let's talk about soccer a little bit. A week ago Tuesday, we knocked off St. Francis at home, then came back and beat Lima Senior. But a big match on Saturday. A year ago when St. John's played Ottawa Hills, it was probably like the soccer match up in Northwest Ohio. But St. John's will be at Ottawa Hills Saturday at 2 o'clock.
Yeah, I tell you, if you get a chance going out there, it's going to be a great game. Ottawa Hills is ranked right now #1 in the state in Division III. They're an excellent soccer team. They beat St. Francis 2-0. So this should really be a good game. I mean, our kids are really starting to gel. They're getting better. I think it was a wake-up when they lost to Sylvania Northview and everything, because they came back and have been playing strong since. The St. Francis game was almost like a clinic at times out there with those guys. So, Coach McElroy has got them playing excellent soccer, and obviously at the right time of the year right now. Those were big wins. We still have a couple of games left in the conference, but we've played all the main contenders. Right now, you've got St. Francis, Clay, and Findlay kind of really battling it out for second and third.
And the thing is, if you were at that St. Francis game, if you were on a Twitter site or a Facebook site, the goal you have to watch is that final goal by Joey Apanunu. in that game. It was like the play of the week on BCSN.
Yeah.
I mean, that goal where he went through like 3 or 4 St. Francis guys and scored that last goal might be the prettiest goal you're going to see in soccer today.
Yeah, I tell you, and he's an exceptional athlete. I tell you, he's got. You watch him run. What great stride he has, and the way he's able to control the ball. He's gonna get better and better. His soccer ability, his athletic ability. But the one thing that he has that, and we've had some really good soccer players up here at St. John's, but he's built. He's almost built for college already. And he's really been coming into his own this year. Without a doubt, I can't think of anybody better in Northwest Ohio.
Is there anything else on campus we need to talk about before we call it a day?
Not really. Next week we've got 8th grade visits. We start that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and that's always a lot of fun. We're going to put on a great show out there. They get a chance. The 8th graders in the area get to come up and see what St. John's is all about, and see us in action, and meet a lot of good people and stuff, and hopefully they will make a great decision by coming to St. John's.
And that's the thing. That's the big thing. I mean, a lot of guys, if you want to, see what it's like at St. John's, call the school and shadow somebody at school.
Yeah, you can become a Titan for a day, and to me, that's the best way to really learn about it. You get assigned to a student that has a lot of the same interests as you have. You get to go to classes and see what the teacher's about. You meet everybody. I mean, everything from the activities in the morning to lunch at noon, and what's going on later on that after school and everything. So it's a great way to really learn what St. John's is all about. And what the neat thing about the Titan about the day is we're not going to just put you in one side of the school. You're going to see the whole school. You're going to see what it's all about, all the different things that you want to, and you get to meet a lot of different people in a different format, not with mom and dad being there, but with format with the students, and you get to, that's what you're going to learn from. How's school? How are classes? How are these teachers? You're not going to learn it from mom and dad. You're going to learn it from another student.
Perfect. Bob, we'll see you tomorrow at Live. And want to thank the folks from Sidelines as always. Nice to have Coach Larry McDaniel in the house talking about that football game matchup with Central Catholic tomorrow. Head golf coach Musa Ora. Of course, the Titans win the track title again. The 8th time in the last 9 years, actually 7 in a row. Also golfers Carson Sager, Ben Pollock, Henry Rill, Justy Von Lemden, Joey Happenjohns, and Joey Gemerchek. Next time we talk to you, we'll be from Leiden Field as your St. John's Jesuit Titans take on Central Catholic pregame at 6:30. I'm Gary Sensenstein saying good night and all the best from Sidelines, and we were live, and this was the St. John's Jesuit Coaches Show on 107.7 The Wolf.